57th Super Bowl has come to an end. Mahomes broke the curse once again, leading the Chiefs to 3 Super Bowl appearances in 4 years, winning championship twice. Undoubtedly, he has become the Tom Brady of the NFL in this era. Eagles and Chiefs didn't disappoint us. The two teams jointly delivered a very exciting, high-scoring battle. As a YouTuber who loves competitive sports, many of my friends are asking me, how did the Eagles lose the game? They had more first downs, third down conversion rates, offensive plays, offensive possession time, passing yards, and rushing yards. They were the so-called second most defensive team in the league. Why did the defensive line was the most sacks in the league, not able to even touch Mahomes? In this video, I will share some detail I observed to analyze where Chiefs outperform Eagles. Let's first start with the offensive line. In this game, the Chiefs' offensive line withstood the pressure of the Eagles' pass and rush. Take Kelsey's catch on a long pass as an example. Eagles' defensive ends Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick kneeled at the same time. There was no one stopping Patrick Mahomes. He easily connected with Kelsey to complete a 20-yard first down. The Eagles' defense was stubborn throughout the game, always rushing 4 players to pass. Despite being individually strong, they cannot run against so many opponents. The Chiefs covered Mahomes with 7 players. Only 2 were running routes in the backfield, 1 was left in the close area. The Eagles were unable to start 2 players in the backfield with 6 men. When Mahomes passed the ball, the protection was like a wall. Meanwhile, the Eagle offensive line was busy kneeling down.
Now let's look at Juju's 2 catches. It's said that Chiefs number 77, right tackle Andrew Willie, is the weakest point of the offensive line. Now he has to face Eagles' strongest pass rusher, Hassan Reddick. When Reddick fell to break through on the left and juke to the right, Willie kept pushing him to the left and made him lose his balance. The rest of the offensive line were pushed to Mahomes. At this point, a magical play happened. Mahomes withstood the pressure and connected with Juju for a 14-yard gain. The Chief coaches knew that Willie might be the target, so they often arranged McKinnon to help him block. But in this way, Willie had no disadvantage against Reddick at all. He completely dominated him. Not only that, the entire Eagles defensive line were blocked one-on-one by Chiefs offensive line. Whereas Eagles had problems with their defensive coordination, linebacker Edwards has been moving up early to prepare to defend Tony in the shallow area. Meanwhile, Maddox was supposed to defending Juju, but when he saw Mahomes looking at Tony after the kickoff, he got distracted and let Juju slip by. He even tried to signal his teammates behind him, but it was too late. As a result, Edwards and Maddox ended up double-teaming Tony. Mahomes took advantage of Maddox's reaction and threw to Juju without any pressure, completing the first down. Besides pass protection, the Chiefs' rushing also stood out, taking their short pass screen tactic as an example. Willie and Noah Gray directly pushed Reddick down from the side and dropped him on the ground. After McKinnon received the ball on the side, he successfully pushed 7 yards. The Eagles were too confident in their pass rush after the performance this season. They had a single-minded strategy of rushing with 4 players throughout the game. They were not even wearing the right shoes, and they were dropping to the ground in all kinds of ways. The Chiefs took various methods plus personal performances to completely withstand the pressure from the Eagles' pass rush and did not give them a single sack throughout the game, depriving the Eagles of their defensive advantage. Now let's look at the tactical level. The Chiefs coaching staff was fully prepared for this game. As you may remember, they scored twice walking touchdowns that are nearly identical. In fact, this was a trap that was set as early as week 4 of the regular season. Let's take a look at how the Chiefs slowly exposed the Eagles' weaknesses and then delivered the final blow. Week 4 of the regular season, although the Eagles won at home against the Jaguars, the Chiefs coaching staff obviously studied all of the footage of Eagles game. Do you recognize this touchdown play by Jaguars wide receiver Jamal Agnew? He switched from a running position to the line of the scrimmage. The Eagles immediately adjusted their defense with Slade covering Agnew and Garner Johnson, who switched position with Slade covers Marvin Jones Jr. But then Agnew moves back to the backfield and Garner Johnson quickly drops back to safety. Apps moves to the right and anticipates to defend Agnew. At the snap, Agnew moves back to the original side out to the field, and there's no way for Garner Johnson to stop Agnew after running back and forth. Let's go back to Super Bowl 57. The Chiefs actually started another play to test whether the Eagles still had this problem. Fourth quarter, 30 minutes left. After Mahomes called the play, he found that the Eagles were indeed using the same man-to-man coverage and quickly called for a line shift and motion.
top of the screen, Maddox dropped back, and Gardner Johnson follows the motion to cover his man. This reduced the number of defenders on one side, and the offensive line is also drawn to that side. Fortunately, safety Epps, who is responsible for covering the tight end, doesn't follow, but instead switched to the right side. McKinnon runs only 4 yards, but for the Chiefs coaching team, that's already enough. In fact, the Eagles has already failed strategically on this play. Chiefs wanted to see if Eagles defense would switch position like they used to. So the next play, Tony lined up in the motion, and the Chiefs watched the Eagles coverages. Slade moves inside to find Kelsey, Maddox dropped to safety, and Gardner Johnson moves up, just the same as the previous play. As a result, Tony quickly reversed direction to the other side at the snap, and is left wide open. After the catch, he got an easy piece of walking touchdown. Next up, let's first look at the touchdown, then review the turning point of the game. I don't need to explain the tactics. Everyone knows what happened, right? The Chiefs just switched sides. After playing with this side of the second line, they play with the other side. More motions early, the Eagles remain in the same defensive position. When the game is on, he turned back, and there was no one within 10 feet. This way of scoring a touchdown is enough to crush the morale of the Eagles. I want to say the Eagles defense was weak, not because the players on the defensive line and the second line didn't work hard enough. The real problem was the coaches who made strategic decisions falling into the trap of the opponent at such a critical moment, letting their players chasing after the opponent like idiots all over the field. However, everyone noticed the Eagles player were completely following the defensive tactics. There were no problem with their own attitude or executions. Finally, I want to say the real turning point of the entire Super Bowl game, many fans said that the Jalen Hurts lost ball in the first half. Not only did it not allow the Eagles to expand their lead, but also directly give points to the opponent. But in football games, what's more important is what had happened, not predicting what would have happened. Just like the yellow flag thrown by the referee in the final moments, I believe that everyone, including Chiefs fans, wouldn't want such a fantastic game to end up with a foul. But I won't say that what might have happened so and so if there is no foul. If sports games were based on imagination and prediction to determine the outcome, it would lose its beauty and glamour. So if you ask me where is the turning point of the entire game, I would say it was when the Chiefs took a 28-27 lead in the last quarter. From that moment on, the Eagles coaching team gradually fell into the trap that the Chiefs had already set up. Second and a half, Chiefs rush with a cornerback. One player stay in the middle to closely watch the running back. Eagles are expected to play a short yard RPO. As expected, a short pass is thrown to Pascal on the running side. Safety Thornhill was prepared for this and completed the tackle immediately. All of Chiefs' second line defenders were tightly marking their receivers. They intentionally gave a gap to Hurts. A short advantage is given to Eagles on purpose. 3rd and 3. Even the broadcast was nervous and made a mistake. It's not 3rd and 2. The Chiefs rushed multiple players to pressure Hurts. Linebacker Gay go through without any delay and jump in front of Hurts. Hurts had no time to observe and could only try to avoid him. As a result, he couldn't complete the pass. The issue is not with the offensive design in this situation. It's either left tackle Balada's execution or lack of short pass always in the offensive strategy. The tight end next to him moved to the right after the snap to provide cover. The running back also helped block the right side. The center and the guard both went to the left. Only him seemed to be responsible for the far left side. The Balada wasn't even looking at that direction. He was solely focusing on facing the defensive end in front of him. And the offensive tactic didn't provide enough short passing options. Next is the 4th and 2nd conservative punt. The ripple effect began. The punt was long and the punter wasn't under any pressure, but it only went for 38 yards. Take a look at the path and the players on both sides of the field when the ball is in the air, and try to guess where the ball will land. Surprisingly, it didn't land where the camera was focused, but above it.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
At the moment of the catch, there was no opposing player within 15 yards. This gave Tony the space to make a play. He caught the ball, run forward, and then jumped past 7 players. This was not part of the plan, so the Eagles' special teams were completely caught off guard. There was no one on the other side of the field. Tony made his path all the way down to the 5-yard line. Almost scoring a touchdown, he got a 65-yard return. Next is the same play by the Chiefs as seen earlier. They fooled the Eagles defense and scored a touchdown. From the defense to the special team and then to the offense, the Chiefs had everyone stepping up in the critical moments. They used a combination of tactics that the Eagles couldn't handle. The game was over in my mind. These were some of the key factors in Eagles' losses in the Super Bowl. If you find my tactical analysis video interesting, please hit likes, shares, and subscribe to my channel. With the exciting Super Bowl over, the long off season has begun. Please let me know in the comments below what would you like to see in the next video.